My husband thought I'd never find out. But one day, a stranger sent me a screenshot on Instagram. Your husband told me you were his sister. My hands trembled as I scrolled through their messages. He had used the same lies, the same sweet words, on multiple women. That night, I set his phone in front of him and whispered, "Which one of us do you love the most?" His silence told me everything. I, 38 female, have been married to my husband, 41 male, for almost 11 years. We live in Columbus, Ohio. I work as a nurse at a mid-sized hospital, and he's in corporate sales, always traveling, always networking, always on the move. That's how it's been since day one. I thought that was just part of his job. I thought I understood. I really, truly thought I had a happy marriage. But I was wrong. At first, it was little things. He started keeping his phone face down. He used to leave it charging in the kitchen, then suddenly it never left his side. I asked him once, jokingly, "Got any secrets in there?" And he just laughed and kissed me on the forehead and said, "Just your birthday surprise, babe." That was 2 months before my birthday. I didn't get a birthday surprise. I didn't even get a card. He also started getting random calls at weird times, late at night, early in the morning. I once heard a woman's voice on speaker before he rushed to turn it off and said it was a work client from California. It was 6 a.m. I was half asleep and didn't question it. That's the thing. I didn't question anything. One Thursday evening, I came home after a 12-hour shift. I was drained. I sat down with a cup of tea, opened Instagram to mindlessly scroll, and saw a message request. The profile picture was of a young woman I didn't recognize. I hesitated. Opened it anyway. "Hi. I don't know how to say this, but I think your husband is lying to someone I know. He told her you're his sister. I thought you should see this." My stomach dropped. She attached screenshots. My husband, Mark, smiling in a selfie with this woman at a restaurant I didn't recognize. Him calling her baby and my one and only. Him talking about how his sister, me, was staying with him temporarily while going through a breakup and how it was hard having family around all the time. I sat frozen. My tea got cold in my hands. I scrolled down and saw more screenshots. More women. More lies. The same exact words. The same stories. He was reusing the same lines with each one. Changing tiny things like their name or city. Telling one she was the only person who ever understood him. Telling another he was just waiting until his sister moved out so they could be together full time. And there I was, his wife, sleeping next to him every night, making him coffee every morning. I didn't cry right away. I wish I had. I wish the tears would have come then and there. But I just sat there, stunned. I looked over at our wedding photo on the mantel. Our smiles. The vows we wrote ourselves. He had cried during mine. At the time, I thought it was because he was so in love. Now I don't know if it was guilt or acting or something even worse. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped my phone twice. I replied to the woman. I asked, "How did you find me?" She said, "I reverse searched one of his photos. It led me to your anniversary post." I needed to be absolutely sure. I needed to see it with my own eyes. When he came home later that night, I pretended everything was normal. I even asked how his trip to Pittsburgh was. He lied to my face, told me it was busy but good, kissed me on the forehead again, and went to take a shower. While he was in there, I took his phone. I had never done that before. Never needed to. The passcode hadn't changed. Still the same digits as our wedding date. He had deleted most messages. But not all of them. I found a hidden folder in his photo gallery. Screenshots of conversations. Nudes. Hotel booking confirmations. Uber receipts. Even Venmo transactions labeled with things like "dinner for us red heart" and "can't wait to see you." I felt like I was going to throw up. When he came out of the shower, I was sitting at the kitchen table. His phone was in front of me, screen unlocked. I looked at him, calmly. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I asked him, quietly, which one of us do you love the most? He froze. He looked at the phone. Looked back at me. And said absolutely nothing. Not a word. Not a whisper. Not a single excuse. Just silence. That silence hit me harder than any confession could have. It was louder than screaming. It told me everything I needed to know. I didn't need him to admit it. I already knew. But I think I need to say more. There's more to this story. And it only gets worse from here. So, where did I leave off? Oh, right. Me, sitting at the kitchen table, shaking, his phone lit up in front of us like it was about to explode. I had just asked him, which one of us do you love the most? And he said nothing. Just stared at me like a deer in headlights. I waited. And waited. But nothing. So I stood up, took the phone, and left the room. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed on the couch. He didn't come after me. Didn't even try. In the morning, he acted like nothing happened. Made coffee. Told me he had to head into the office early. I laughed in his face. He finally broke and said, "Look, I made a mistake. It's not what you think. I didn't sleep with anyone. It was just emotional support." I think I actually laughed at that point. Emotional support? From 5 different women? Some he had been emotionally supporting for over a year? I showed him the screenshots again. The hotel booking. The lingerie receipt. The picture of him kissing one of them on the neck. "Oh, that was for work," he stammered. "A client needed help with," I cut him off. "Help with what? Her bra?" He didn't answer. Again. That weekend, while he was at a conference, I dug deeper. I had to know everything. The lies weren't just personal, they were structural. Our life was built on this man's lies. I started checking our credit card statements. There were transactions I'd never noticed before, hotel stays in cities he never told me he went to. Plane tickets booked in someone else's name. Amazon orders, lingerie, perfume, jewelry, that never came to our house. Then I found it. An Airbnb receipt. 3 nights. In Charleston, South Carolina. We've never been to Charleston. Not together, anyway. I called the Airbnb host, pretending I was confirming a stay my husband booked. She told me yes, she remembered him. Said he was there last month with his girlfriend. Said she complimented the decor. My vision went blurry. I whispered, "Did the woman have red hair?" She replied, "Yes, how did you know?" "Because I saw her. In the Instagram screenshots. One of the women he told was the only one who sees the real me." A week later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something in me said pick up. It was a woman. Her voice shaky, soft. She introduced herself, her name was Nina. She said, "I think I've been dating your husband for over 2 years. I just found out about you." She thought they were married. She said he told her he was going through a divorce. That I was his ex-wife, still living with him for financial reasons. He had a second phone he used to talk to her. She had no idea I existed until she stumbled on my Instagram page while he was in the shower. Saw our wedding photo. Our vacation pictures. The anniversary post he liked from his real account. "I'm so sorry," she said. I believed him. He even bought me a ring. My knees gave out. I sat on the kitchen floor, phone to my ear, heart pounding. She wasn't just another woman. She was the other wife. Nina told me she met his parents. Not his real parents. Friends of his, pretending to be them. Yes, I'm serious. She said they had dinner every other week. She knew his favorite whiskey, the scent he wore, his favorite movie. All the same things I thought were ours. He had built a whole fake life with her, down to calling her Mrs. Carter. He told her he was ready to start over, for real this time. The ring? From Tiffany's. Paid for with our joint account. That same night, I called my sister. I told her everything. I cried so hard I couldn't get through the whole story. She came over immediately. Just held me while I sobbed. She kept saying, "We're gonna get you out of this." For the first time, I realized I couldn't stay stuck in the pain. I had to act. But the more I dug, the more it spiraled. 3 days ago, I followed a lead from a phone notification that popped up on his iPad. A delivery confirmation. Not to our home, but to a UPS pickup box. When I checked the address, I found out it was linked to a storage facility. I drove there. When I got in, I saw boxes labeled with names I didn't recognize. Clothes. Gifts. Letters. Photos. There was even a second wedding suit. I stood there, surrounded by pieces of his secret life, and realized, my husband wasn't just cheating. He was running a network of women. He had a system. He had backup plans. I haven't confronted him again, yet. But I will. This isn't over. And you won't believe what I'm about to do next. Hi again. If you've made it this far, thank you. I didn't think anyone would care to read about my broken life, but the comments, DMs, and support have made me feel a little less insane. So here's what happened next. After I found the storage unit full of gifts, letters, and a second wedding suit, I stopped sleeping. Like, completely. But I couldn't stop digging. I felt like if I paused, even for a second, I'd miss something huge. And I did find something huge. Actually, 3 huge things. It started with a yellow envelope buried in one of the storage boxes. Inside were printed photos, like actual 4x6 glossy prints. One photo made my blood run cold. A baby. Newborn. Wrapped in a hospital blanket. With a sticky note on the back that said, "Our son, finally." July 2022. I stared at that date. July 2022. Just over a year ago. That's when he told me he was in Denver on a networking retreat. I remember because he didn't call me for 2 whole days. Said he lost his charger and had spotty reception in the mountains. I took that photo and messaged Nina, the woman who thought she was his wife. She said that baby wasn't hers. So I messaged the other woman who first reached out on Instagram, Sarah. She said she also wasn't the mother. I was shaking. That meant there was another woman. Another life. A child. He had a son. The next shock came when I checked our joint investment account. Something I usually let him manage because, well, I was too busy with my shifts at the hospital, and I trusted him. Biggest mistake of my life. There was a separate college fund account listed under an alias I didn't recognize. I dug deeper. The beneficiary was a toddler named Grayson. Same last name as Mark. Same birth year as the baby in the photo, 2022. That money? Over $40,000. He had been funneling money into it for over a year. I double-checked the bank statements. He'd been slowly pulling funds from our retirement account, from bonuses I didn't even know he got, from side hustles I thought were fake. He was hiding a child. And saving for his future. While lying to my face every day. So now I'm spiraling. I'm looking at this baby photo, staring at the college fund, wondering who else is out there. I go back into the storage unit, search the box marked keepsakes, and find a notebook. Inside were notes in Mark's handwriting. Half were journal entries, half were to-do lists. One said, "Schedule venue meeting with Candace, May 18th venue?" I didn't know any Candace. I sure wasn't planning any events. So I called the number scribbled under her name. Told her I was with the event company and wanted to confirm some details for the upcoming wedding. She was excited. Told me she and her fiancé were planning a small wedding in Asheville, North Carolina. When I asked the groom's name, she said, Mark Carter. My husband. She thought they were getting married in 3 months. She had no idea he was already married. Twice, apparently. I couldn't even speak. She ended the call by saying, thanks again. Mark's going to be so happy. He says I'm the only woman who ever made him believe in love again. Let me recap for those keeping track. Me, the legal wife of 11 years. Nina, thought she was his other wife, wore a ring, believed his lies for 2 years. Sarah, messaged me on Instagram, dated him casually, thought I was his sister. Candace, thinks she's engaged and is actively planning a wedding. Unknown mother, had a baby with him last year. 5 women. Possibly more. He's not just a cheater. He's a con artist with a family tree of lies. This morning, he left for a client meeting in Chicago. But I checked his location on the iPad, he forgot to disconnect it. He's not in Chicago. He's in Asheville. With Candace. Probably tasting cake samples or signing guest lists while I sit here, staring at the pieces of this life he built out of nothing but charm, lies, and fake promises. He doesn't know I've spoken to them. Doesn't know I've gathered photos, bank statements, call logs, and receipts. But he's going to find out soon. Very soon. It was time. I couldn't keep unraveling this on my own. I needed to do something that would actually cut through the web of lies. I didn't want just a quiet confrontation anymore. I wanted the truth, loud, undeniable, in front of everyone he hurt. So I planned something. I didn't want revenge. I wanted answers. I wanted the truth out in the open. No more hiding. I contacted the 3 women, Nina, the almost wife, Sarah, Instagram tipster, and Candace, the fiancé. I told them everything I knew, every message, photo, receipt. I laid it all out. They were furious. Not at each other, but at him. It took convincing, but they agreed to meet me. In person. I booked a private dining room at a hotel in downtown Columbus. Neutral ground. Quiet, small, but public enough that he couldn't explode or run. I told Mark it was a business dinner with my hospital board and he needed to dress up and be on time. He showed up wearing his best suit, looking smug, probably thinking he was about to charm a bunch of doctors. He walked into the room. And saw us. All of us. Sitting there. Waiting. He stopped in the doorway, color draining from his face. Nina stood first. She had the ring he gave her in her hand. Slammed it on the table. You said I was your only one. Then Sarah, you told me your sister was just crashing until her ex moved out. Then Candace, shaking, holding her wedding binder, we were supposed to tour the venue tomorrow. I stayed seated. I said nothing at first. Just looked him straight in the eyes and waited. He opened his mouth. I can explain, Nina cut him off. Don't. Just tell us, how many of us are there? He didn't answer. Candace screamed. Do I even exist to you? He tried to walk toward me. I stood up. Pulled the baby photo out of my purse and held it up. Is this our baby, Mark? Or hers? Or someone else's? He looked like he'd been hit with a brick. He sat down slowly. Then, in this small, pitiful voice, he whispered, I didn't mean for it to get this far. What followed was chaos. Nina was crying. Candace tore her wedding binder in half and threw it at him. Sarah called him a sociopath. I just sat there, numb. Watching the man I gave 11 years to squirm like a kid who got caught stealing. He kept saying the same line, I didn't want to hurt anyone. I was just trying to find happiness. Candace shouted, happiness? You lied to all of us. You stole from her. You faked a baby's name on a college fund. Mark buried his face in his hands. The manager came in to ask if everything was okay. I calmly told him yes, we were just finishing up. Nina walked out first. Then Candace. Then Sarah. Before I left, I looked at Mark and said, "You didn't love any of us. You just loved how much we loved you." Then I walked away. It's been 5 weeks since that night. Nina blocked him. She moved out of the apartment they shared. Candace called off the wedding. She posted the full story publicly, wedding date, name, everything. He lost his job 2 days later when HR saw the post. Sarah went radio silent. I don't blame her. She was the first one to warn me. She's the reason I know. And me? I filed for divorce. My sister and I boxed up his things and dumped them in his parents' driveway. He texted me 2 days ago. All it said was, "You ruined my life." I didn't reply. Because here's the truth, he didn't lose his life. He lost his illusion. I never thought I'd be that woman. The one who gets cheated on, lied to, manipulated for years. I always thought I was too smart, too grounded, too aware. But now I know, it has nothing to do with intelligence. Manipulators are just really good at making you feel safe while they quietly set your world on fire behind your back. I feel grief. Anger. Some days, I wake up and forget for a split second that it all happened. But I also feel a strange kind of relief. The truth is out. The mask is off. The house of cards finally collapsed. And for once, I can breathe. Do I miss him? Sometimes. The version of him I thought was real. But mostly, I feel free. I don't know what comes next. Therapy. Healing. Maybe a solo trip somewhere I've never been. But what I do know is this. I will never again let someone confuse possession with love, silence with peace, or attention with commitment. I'm still picking up the pieces. But I know who I am now. And that's a start.